Coming up as First at 4 continues, one southern Kentucky county is dealing with an increase in street signs being stolen. And a 7-year-old brings a loaded gun to school in Massachusetts.
Plus, mild weather continues tonight and into tomorrow as high pressure remains in place. Details on that coming up as First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
There is a problem in a southern Kentucky town with thefts of signs. Someone is stealing road signs, and first responders say it's getting worse. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more.
This is a problem that has taken place both here in the city limits of Somerset as well as out in the county. But regardless of where, it's a problem for first responders because this could be the difference in getting to an emergency quickly or it taking some time simply because they don't know where to go.
The last week, or this week, we have put up 8 already.
David Hargis is the Streets and Roads Department Director for the city of Somerset. He says the problem is always out there and it's common to have to replace road signs here and there, but says in the past 3 to 4 weeks it's gotten bad. East Lair Street was replaced twice. First responders say they sometimes have trouble finding emergency locations because of a missing road sign.
We're out running routes this morning trying to make sure that all of our signs are in place for the weekend, but we don't know what's going to happen between when we run the routes and the rest of the weekend because weekends seem to be a big time they steal them.
This is also a very expensive problem to fix, and with supply chain issues it's even more complicated and timely to get the replacement signs in. It may cost at least $100 by the time you replace both the sign and the pole. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Somerset city leaders say you cannot sell signs to recycle or scrap in places, so officials do not think it's a matter of someone stealing them to sell. Appalshop is partnering with Educational Foundation of America to provide relief checks to local artists impacted by the flood. Whether trained or self-taught, artists can fill out a survey and potentially receive a $500 check. Appalshop Director of Films Willa Johnson says they felt called to step up after many Eastern Kentucky artists lost artwork.
If artists lost their materials in this region, who are they going to reach out to? Like, who is that resource? And Appalshop seemed like the most obvious connection to be able to distribute those funds.
The first 80 qualifying candidates will receive the money. We'll have more on this at 6. As we reach the end of Substance Abuse Awareness Month, those who work in recovery are continuing to remind everyone why prevention is key. Those with Kentucky River Community Care say providing drug abuse prevention programs in schools is important in the fight against substance abuse. They add that continuing an open dialogue surrounding addiction can also help destigmatize the issue and promote recovery.
I feel like a lot of people are more open to talk about it now. There used to be a lot of shame and guilt brought to people who were addicts, and I feel like a lot of people died due to that. So now that there's more awareness brought to it, that may help somebody reach out for help.
Jessica Brewer with KRCC says the organization plans to create a program for students to take part in to help with substance abuse prevention.
Well, just a few clouds pushing through the region today. We are otherwise mostly sunny and absolutely beautiful. Here's a live look at UVA-wise. 63 the current reading there and plenty of sunshine, but those high clouds trying to move in from in the distance. Still plenty of sunshine in downtown Whitesburg. Hope everybody's having a good afternoon down there in Letcher County. Things looking pretty nice. Upper 60s to low 70s through the region. And how about our warm spots? Middlesboro and Jacksboro, 73 apiece. Manchester's not far away at 72. Everybody else right around 70 or 71. Light and variable winds, not much of a breeze out there, so we won't continue to see warm air from the south and west or cool air from the north and west. However, we will continue to see a few clouds work through the region. Not a big deal as we head through the nighttime hours tonight, or really through the evening and into the afternoon hours tonight. We talked about future view. Let's actually go to tonight's forecast and talk about that. Low 40s tonight, calm winds. and partly cloudy as we head through tonight. Details, though, on when we warm up tomorrow, how tomorrow's looking, and when showers return to the forecast. That's in a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. Forest fires continue to be a problem here in eastern Kentucky. Already more than 50 acres has burned in Breathitt County. Firefighters have it under control, but there's a problem. Even though the rain we saw a couple of days ago was a big help in putting out the fires, leaves continue to collect on the ground, and that just adds fuel to the fire.
With the heavy winds and the trees still holding on to their leaves, as those leaves fall, they're covering up containment lines. They're falling and covering up the burn area, which is still hot and smoldering, so it's causing those fires to rekindle.
Firefighters say you can prevent fires by just not burning anything at all. Ground has officially been broken on what is being called a huge economic boost to the Ashland area. It's a $55 million horse racing facility. Governor Andy Beshear says he's doing what he can to make sure Kentucky stays the horse racing capital of the world with this new facility. This will be Kentucky's first track dedicated to quarter horses, as well as an equestrian center and an entertainment complex.
This facility is going to bring in race fans and tourists from far and wide to spend their money right here. And I tell you what we're seeing all across Kentucky is when people come to our communities and they see what Team Kentucky is all about. When they experience the hospitality that we have, they want to stay.
The track is expected to open for the 2024 racing season. The fate of the Lexington Legends is up in the air. The Indy Ball report tweeted that the franchise is being sold today. The new and old owners have confirmed layoffs. The Legends played their first season in 2001. 2 years ago, Major League Baseball ended its affiliation with the Legends and 39 other minor league teams. Game attendance then started to dwindle. The new owner is Nathan Lyons, based in Nashville. Police say a 7-year-old brought a loaded gun to school in a Boston neighborhood. No one was hurt, but investigators are now trying to figure out how the child got the gun. Litza Pappas has the story.
It starts at home. It starts with us asking certain questions.
A lot of questions remain in Dorchester after police say a 7-year-old student had a loaded gun at the Up Academy Holland School Thursday. Police say they were called to the elementary school at around 3:30 this afternoon. Gio Lambert went to the Holland School as a kid.
Hearing that a gun was brought to the school is kind of alarming, but at the same time, I think it's bigger than the gun being brought to the school. What are we doing to prevent these guns being brought to the school? What are you preventing to the kids of getting these guns, access to these guns?
School leaders are trying to figure out just that after several incidents of violence at Boston Public Schools already this year. The superintendent said in part, "I'm speechless. I don't have the words. This is truly devastating. We're grateful to BPD and first responders who were on the scene immediately, but we cannot do this work alone. When a young person gets access to a gun out of accessibility, we really have to ask ourselves, how does this happen?" Boston Mayor Michelle Wu says no child should ever be near a weapon like this, especially at such a young age. She went on to say the person responsible for allowing access to this weapon is going to be held accountable.
That was Litza Pappas reporting. The Boston Police Commissioner says they are always working to crack down on gun access throughout the city, but says it needs to be everyone's priority to keep guns away from kids. Coming up as First at 4 continues, Elon Musk is now the owner of Twitter. We'll have more on what that could mean for the future of the company.
Plus, continuing to watch a cooler night ahead with some showers on the way for part of the weekend. That breakdown is on the way.